Hey, how's it going? So my daughter hit me up and was like, Dad, my car won't start. Yeah, at first I thought, oh yeah, she done killed the battery. Come out here, check the battery, it's not dead. So we are going to go over today on trying to determine whether she has a bad fuel pump or not. So let's go ahead and give this thing a crank and see what it does. Well, as you can see or hear, it didn't start. So one of the ways that I like to check for fuel pump issues is to get some starting fluid and I'll spray it up in the intake. So I already got the breather off just a little bit right here. We'll spray some of this in there. A lot of people tell you, you know, get a fuel pressure gauge, this, that, and the other. Well, you know what? I don't want to spend 60 bucks on a tool that I'm only going to use once. The auto parts store sometimes will rent you tools, but they didn't have one. So, let's go see if we can get some fire out of this thing now. Alright, so it tried to start. Maybe we need a little bit more starting fluid here. See if we try it one more time. If that's the case, I believe we'll be golden and know that it's the fuel pump. This breather is just kind of a pain and it's really in the way. But it didn't come with one of the little straws on it to get a nice direct spray. So, oh yeah, she left the radio on. That's always great. Oh no, that's right, her radio's broke. It's one of them ghost radios. It likes to turn itself on. Always try to put the breather back as close as you can, just in case there's some sort of backfire issue. Alright, well see, quick, simple, $3 way to determine if you need a fuel pump. It tried to start with starting fluid, so hey, we know it's not getting fuel. Now before you say, oh, it's 100% fuel pump, no, it's a Ford, and I work on a lot of Fords because I'm just a Ford person, but there's something else we need to check. So I will show you that in just a second. Alright guys, one more check before we determine fuel pump here is if you look right here, this says fuel reset inside. Up in here there's a little sensor and it's got a little plunger on it that you can push down, and if that plunger is pushed up, it means all you have to do is reset the fuel pump. This will normally happen if, like, you know, you hit a big pothole, you get in a wreck, you know, something that jars a vehicle a lot. It's just like a safety. It'll cut the fuel to the vehicle. But in our case, the plunger is down, so that is not the cause of our problem. So looks like fuel pump it is. I did buy a fuel filter to go with that. It's, you know, a cheap little $12 addition to the project. So we're gonna grab our tools and we'll get going on this fuel pump. Alright, so we are back. I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but that fuel pressure reset switch is normally located in the front driver's side floorboard, right there up against the firewall. So just to make sure, we point that out so you can find it if you're looking for it. But now we are in the driver's side passenger, which meaning behind the driver's seat. In the second seat, we got the seat flipped up because this right here is where the fuel pump is located. So I have already taken the 4 screws out right here to get this panel up to access our fuel pump. Now, this is not exactly the hardest fuel pump to do, but you want to make sure everything is plugged in and everything correctly. That actually seemed kind of loose to me, so what we're going to do real quick before we put a fuel pump in it is plug this back up and try it one more time, because I know that fuel pumps are expensive because I already bought one. But if we can eliminate the fact that that wire was loose, we will know for sure. So let's try to start this thing one more time.
Percent of is prefer.
Alright, well, it tried to start once, but that was probably because it still had some starting fluid in it. So we know that this this little connector here being a little bit loose was not the issue. So, but when you run across little things like that, you gotta check. So you got 2 wiring harnesses. You know, pretty explanatory of where they come from and where they go back to. You got a retaining ring here, and you got 2 fuel lines. So you just squeeze the little clips on them, pull them on out, and there you go. Your fuel lines are done. Now this retaining ring is normally a big pain to get out, especially if you haven't replaced the fuel pump in a long time. Unfortunately for me, I replaced this fuel pump about 7 months ago. I found the cheapest one I could, and guess what I'm doing now? I'm replacing it again. But the easiest way to get these little rings out is just to get a hammer and a screwdriver and spin the ring around. So once you get it all loose, you can spin it out like that. You can pull your ring out right here, and then we have a fuel pump. And you know, all this junk gets in your way, but here we go. Look, as always with most fuel pumps, the gas tank is almost full. Why they like to go bad when the gas tanks are full, I'm not sure. But we're gonna wiggle this thing out and go ahead and get it back in and see if it starts up. Pretty much it's the reverse order. These little fittings right here, sometimes you have to take these fittings off and put them on your new one because it comes with different fittings. So make sure that you compare your new one to your old one here before trying to put it back in. That make sure the lines and connectors are all going to be the same. And we will be back in a minute, see if this thing fires up. And we're back, guys. As you can see, we got the new fuel pump in. When you get your new fuel pump, it comes with a little O-ring gasket. Just goes around the top of it. You got to put your float on. Pretty much self-explanatory. The fuel clips, I did end up having to take them off the old one to put on this one. And you know, got my retaining ring in and everything. Now when you put this in, it's got a couple of alignment slots. You're going to want to make sure you line up the fuel pump in those little notches. That way it'll allow you to compress the fuel pump down into the gas tank and put your retaining ring on and secure it. So with all that being said, let's see if this thing fires up. Alright guys, we'll check this thing out right here. I'm not much of a camera guy, so just bear with the camera in this here. This car is filthy because it belongs to my 20-year-old daughter. And jackpot, we have liftoff. So guys, I hope all, my little walkthrough here on, checking a fuel pump and, doing a little test and everything helped you out. You don't need the fuel pressure gauge. Unlike a lot of shops will tell you to determine a bad fuel pump. $5 can of starter fluid and just a little know-how of how the system works. I'm not sure on all vehicles, but I know on Fords that they had the fuel reset switch. I'm pretty sure all vehicles do, but I've been down this road a couple times. Figured I'd share it with y'all, give you a little helpful hint, so you don't go out and spend more money than you need to at the shop and or on tools you don't need. So guys, like I said, hope it helped you. Take it easy and get moving down the road with your new fuel pump.